What I'm about to tell you in this video is something most men will never hear, and even fewer will ever understand. It's not about looking younger, being richer, or pretending to be someone you're not. In fact, everything you think you know about attracting younger women is probably wrong. What I'm about to reveal will completely flip your perspective because it exposes the hidden truths that nobody talks about, the invisible rules of attraction that separate the men who are chosen from the men who are ignored. By the time you finish watching this video, you're going to see yourself in a completely different light. You're going to understand why some older men, without even trying, naturally draw attention, respect, and desire, while others struggle to be noticed no matter how hard they work. You're going to realize it's not about your face, your money, or even your charm. It's about energy, presence, and the way you live your life. And here's the kicker. Most men sabotage themselves every single day without even realizing it. I'm going to break down the psychological patterns, the hidden behaviors, and the life principles that make certain older men irresistible. I'm going to show you what to stop doing, what to start embodying, and how to completely shift the way the world and women perceive you. This isn't theory, this isn't fluff. These are practical truths backed by psychology, life experience, and human behavior that nobody else will tell you. If you watch this video until the end, you're going to walk away with insights that could change everything about your life, your relationships, and the way you are chosen. Every second matters. Every idea is designed to challenge what you think you know and push you toward a level of magnetism that most men will never achieve. Stay with me, because what comes next will shock you, and it will make you unstoppable. Let's start with something that most men completely misunderstand, something so powerful that when you realize it, it changes everything about how you are perceived, how you are chosen, and how you command attention without ever trying. It's not your face, it's not your car, it's not the clothes you wear, and it's certainly not how cool you think you are on social media. What really sets older men apart, what really makes them magnetic to younger women, is presence. The energy you carry into a room, the way you inhabit yourself, the unspoken signal that says, I am someone who matters and I know it. Presence is invisible, yet undeniable. It's subtle, yet it carries a weight that nothing else can replicate. You can be standing in a crowded room, surrounded by hundreds of people, and yet the moment you enter, some people will notice you, feel drawn to you, and others won't even see you. That difference is presence. And it is the single factor that separates the men who are chosen from those who are ignored. Most men focus on the wrong things because they are taught to focus on the wrong things. They think if they dress sharper, earn more money, or act younger, they will be more desirable. They think attraction is about a checklist, looks, status, wealth, charm, but that's superficial, it's noise. Women, particularly younger women who are sensitive to energy and authenticity, aren't looking for someone to impress them, they're looking for someone to feel. Presence communicates stability, strength, and depth without a single word. When you walk into a room and carry yourself with calm certainty, with no need to prove yourself, it resonates on a level that is instinctive, primal even. That's why younger women are drawn to men who have mastered this, because it signals something far deeper than anything money or youth can ever communicate. Presence isn't about showing off. It's not about being loud or dominating a conversation. In fact, quite the opposite. Presence is quiet power. It's the ability to make people notice you because of the energy you radiate, not because you demand it. A man with presence doesn't have to compete. He doesn't need to perform tricks to be admired. The energy he carries does the work for him. And this energy is built through one simple principle: self-possession. You cannot radiate presence if you are not fully comfortable within yourself. You cannot command attention if you are constantly looking to others to validate your worth. Presence comes from a deep understanding that your value is inherent. It doesn't need to be earned through approval or attention. It exists because you exist, and you live in alignment with it. Think about the way people respond to true presence. It's subtle at first. Maybe it's a glance that lingers longer than expected, a tone of voice that demands attention without raising volume, or the way someone instinctively leans in when you speak because they sense depth, confidence, and understanding. Women, particularly younger women who are still learning to navigate the world, are highly attuned to these signals. They may not consciously recognize it, but on a subconscious level, they feel it. They sense safety, strength, and stability. They sense a man who is complete in himself. That sense of completion is magnetic because it creates space for them to feel calm, valued, and respected without having to force it. Presence also communicates boundaries. It communicates self-respect. When you carry yourself in a way that shows you are unshakable, women notice immediately because they understand, even if they can't explain it, that this is a man who is not swayed by every opinion, every distraction, every drama. Most men live their lives reacting to the world around them, trying to control perceptions, seeking approval, or attempting to fit into expectations. A man with presence lives from within, projecting an aura that says, I am grounded, I am steady, I do not bend to every whim or demand, and that is incredibly attractive. It signals strength without aggression, authority without arrogance, and security without attachment. Now, you may wonder, how do I build this presence? The answer is deceptively simple but profoundly challenging. It starts with self-awareness. You must know yourself better than anyone else. Your strengths, your weaknesses, your values, your goals. You must be willing to embrace who you are completely without apology, without hiding parts of yourself to please others. Presence is authenticity amplified. It is not about performing or pretending. It is about living in a way that is fully aligned with your own principles. When you do this, when you truly inhabit yourself, something extraordinary happens. Your energy shifts, people notice, women notice, younger women feel it, even if they can't explain why. Presence also requires emotional mastery. You cannot be magnetic if your energy is chaotic, reactive, or dependent on external validation. Presence is calm in the storm. It is control in the midst of chaos. It is steadiness when everyone else is fluctuating. Older men who understand this, who practice it, attract younger women because they radiate a sense of safety and security. It is subtle, but it is undeniable. You don't have to say anything to show it. You don't have to impress anyone. You simply exist with purpose, and the room feels it. There is a philosophical dimension to this as well. Presence is the external reflection of internal alignment. If you are scattered inside, if you live in conflict with your own values, your energy will betray you. But when you live intentionally, when your actions, thoughts, and emotions are aligned, presence becomes effortless. It is no longer something you try to create. It emerges naturally. This is why some men are naturally magnetic to younger women, while others with equal or better looks and resources are overlooked. It is not about what is visible on the surface. It is about the invisible, unspoken energy that radiates from a man who is fully in command of himself. Here's another crucial point. Presence is not static, it is dynamic. It is not just about standing tall or having a firm handshake. It is in the way you listen, the way you respond, the way you move through. Life. It is reflected in patience, in empathy, in the ability to be fully present in every interaction. Women feel it when a man is truly engaged, not distracted, not trying to impress, not calculating, but present. That is what sets older men apart. That is why they are chosen more often than their younger counterparts. Because presence is rare, and when it exists, it is unforgettable. Finally, presence is a decision. It is not something that is given, nor is it something you inherit. You decide every day to inhabit yourself fully, to carry your energy with intention, and to refuse to shrink in the presence of others. You decide to live in a way that commands attention without demanding it. And when you do this consistently, you become magnetic in ways that no appearance, no money, no social media influence can replicate. So if you take only one thing from this, let it be this: being chosen, being noticed, being magnetic. It is not about what you have or how you look or even how cool you are. It is about presence. It is about the energy you carry, the alignment you maintain with yourself, and the quiet, unshakable power you radiate. Master this, and you do not chase attention. Attention comes to you. You do not need to impress. Your presence is already impressive. You do not need to compete. Your energy speaks for itself. And here is the part that will change everything for you. when you start prioritizing presence above everything else, when you focus on inhabiting yourself fully, something shifts in the world around you. People respond differently, doors open, conversations change. Women, especially younger women, start noticing you in ways that feel effortless. And here's the ultimate truth. Presence is the foundation of all attraction, the core of magnetic energy, and the pathway to being chosen not just occasionally, but consistently by those who sense your depth, strength, and authenticity. So look in the mirror and ask yourself, am I fully here? Am I living in a way that radiates the kind of energy that cannot be ignored? Because until you claim your presence, until you inhabit yourself completely, no one else will truly notice what you have to offer. Step into your presence and the world will respond. Step into your presence and you will no longer chase, you will be chosen. Now that we've talked about presence, let's take it a step deeper, because presence alone is not enough. Presence gets you noticed, it draws attention, it makes people pause and feel something about you. But what keeps that attention? What transforms mere notice into genuine attraction, into being chosen, into becoming magnetic in a way that goes far beyond surface level appeal? That's where emotional independence comes in. Emotional independence is one of those truths that very few men fully understand. Most people think it means being emotionless or cold, or that you don't care about anyone. That's the exact opposite of what I'm talking about. Emotional independence is not about shutting down your feelings, it's about mastering them. It's about being the captain of your own mind, your own reactions, your own energy, regardless of what's happening outside of you. It's about being stable, grounded, and whole, without needing someone else to complete you or validate you. Think about it. When a man is emotionally dependent, he reacts. He overthinks. He chases approval. He gets upset over text messages, social media posts, or perceived slights. His mood swings with the attention he receives, and the moment he doesn't get it, he feels small, anxious, or insecure. This kind of energy is not attractive. It signals chaos. It signals neediness, and younger women in particular are incredibly sensitive to it. On a subconscious level, they can feel when a man's energy is dependent on them or on external circumstances. It's like a vibration they pick up on instinctively, and the truth is, it repels them, even if they don't consciously know why. Now contrast that with a man who is emotionally independent. He is unshakable. His self-worth is not determined by anyone else. He can engage with the world fully, experience life fully, and feel love, joy, or frustration without letting those emotions control him. He doesn't need constant reassurance. He doesn't react to every fluctuation in someone else's behavior. He is steady, and that steadiness is magnetic. It communicates strength, security, and maturity, qualities that younger women, whether they realize it or not, are deeply drawn to. Emotional independence doesn't just create attraction, it creates respect. It creates the kind of respect that goes beyond surface-level admiration. Women notice when a man has control over his own mind, when he doesn't crumble under pressure, when he doesn't play games, when he can hold his own space in the world without being diminished by external forces. That kind of energy is rare, and rarity breeds value. When you are emotionally independent, you automatically raise the standard of how others treat you. You send an unspoken message. I am responsible for my own life. I am not defined by your approval or attention. And that, my friends, is irresistible. Now, emotional independence also gives a man freedom to experience life without fear, without constraint, without constantly worrying about what others think. Freedom to pursue goals, passions, and relationships from a place of choice, not desperation. And freedom is magnetic. It allows a man to move through the world with calm confidence, to engage with women without trying to impress them, to interact with life fully and intentionally. Women sense this immediately. They feel the difference between someone acting out of need and someone acting out of choice, and they are drawn to the latter. Here's something even more profound. Emotional independence is not just about attraction, it's about power, the quiet, subtle, unspoken kind. It's power over yourself, your mind, your reactions, your impulses. It's knowing that your happiness does not depend on anyone else. That gives a man freedom to engage authentically with the people he chooses to engage with, rather than out of fear, obligation, or insecurity. And when a man operates from that space, he becomes magnetic not because he is trying to be, but because he has already mastered the one thing everyone else struggles with, himself. Emotional independence is also about resilience. Life is unpredictable. Relationships are unpredictable. Women's circumstances and opportunities can come and go, but a man who is emotionally independent does not crumble when things do not go according to plan. He does not chase what is lost. He does not beg for attention. He does not shrink. He responds with compass, clarity, and dignity. And that, again, is something younger women sense immediately. It signals maturity, stability, and a life that is whole on its own. Let's address a common misconception. Emotional independence does not mean isolation. It does not mean cutting yourself off from connection or shutting down love. In fact, it enhances your relationships. Because when you are independent emotionally, your relationships are based on choice, not need. You are free to give, to love, to support, and to engage fully without losing yourself in the process. And that creates a dynamic that is powerful, magnetic, and deeply attractive. It allows women to feel safe, appreciated, and understood without being responsible for your happiness. That balance, freedom plus connection, is rare and it is unforgettable. You may be thinking, this sounds great, but how do I become emotionally independent? It starts with self-awareness. You must understand your triggers, your insecurities, and the areas where you rely too heavily on external validation. You must practice observing your emotions without letting them control you. It requires patience, discipline, and honest reflection. But the payoff is extraordinary. Emotional independence transforms not just your interactions with women, but your entire life. You stop chasing what is fleeting, you stop reacting to what is insignificant, and you start creating a life that is intentionally your own. Another essential component is detachment, not in the sense of being cold or indifferent, but in the sense of not being desperate. Desperation kills attraction instantly. Emotional independence allows a man to engage without need, to participate without dependence, and to connect without fear of loss. That energy communicates abundance, confidence, and calm. Women notice it immediately. They are drawn to it instinctively because it signals a man who is complete, stable, and aligned with himself. Emotional independence also sharpens your intuition. When you are not clouded by insecurity or need, you can perceive situations clearly. You can read people, environments, and opportunities with accuracy. This gives you an edge that younger men, who are still emotionally reactive, simply cannot match. You start to make choices not based on fear or impulse, but on clarity and wisdom. And women, again, respond to that. They sense the man who can navigate life with precision, without chaos, without overreaction. Ultimately, emotional independence is about self-mastery. It's about understanding that your worth is inherent, your power is internal, and your happiness is self-generated. When you live from this space, the way you interact with women and the world changes completely. You are no longer chasing, no longer proving, no longer reacting. You are choosing, creating, and engaging from a place of strength. And that, my friends, is profoundly magnetic. So, if you take only one lesson from this, let it be this: emotional independence is the ultimate foundation of attraction, respect, and magnetism. Presence draws attention, but emotional independence sustains it. Presence gets you noticed, but independence keeps you chosen. Emotional independence is not about being aloof, it's about being fully alive, fully in control, and fully engaged on your own terms. Remember this: women are not attracted to need, they are not drawn to chaos. They are instinctively drawn to men who have mastered themselves. They feel it in your energy, in your composure, in the way you handle life. And when you become emotionally independent, you step into a realm where attraction is natural, effortless, and undeniable. So today, I challenge you, stop reacting, stop seeking approval, stop letting the world control your emotions. Step into your own power, master your mind, master your energy, and watch how the world responds. Because once you do, you don't chase, you are chosen. Once you do, you don't react, you are magnetic. Once you do, the energy you carry does the talking and nothing can compete with it. Now that we've explored presence and emotional independence, let's move to something equally critical, something that most men completely misunderstand. This is the factor that separates men who remain unnoticed from those who are consistently chosen, the ability to stop chasing approval. And I don't just mean from women, I mean from the world, from friends, from social media, from anyone who has the potential to influence how you feel about yourself. Most men live their lives in a constant state of seeking validation, and it is killing their magnetism, their power, and their ability to be chosen. Think about it. How often have you seen a man change who he is to impress someone else? Maybe it's dressing a certain way, speaking differently, pretending to be younger or more interesting than he is. Maybe it's agreeing with opinions he doesn't hold, laughing at jokes that aren't funny, or chasing attention he doesn't genuinely deserve. Every time a man does this, he diminishes himself. He broadcasts insecurity. And women, especially younger women, notice this immediately. Even if they don't consciously articulate it, they feel the energy of someone who is trying too hard. They sense desperation. And here's the truth, desperation kills attraction. It is the single fastest way to become invisible, even if you are handsome, wealthy, or charming. The men who are chosen are not desperate. They are deliberate, they are selective, they engage with the world on their own terms, not based on how they are perceived. This doesn't mean they are arrogant or dismissive. It means they have a standard for themselves and their energy. They don't bend to please others because they know that approval is temporary, fleeting, and external. They understand that validation from someone else is irrelevant if they are not internally validated. This distinction, internal versus external validation, is where most men fail, and it is also where the power of attraction lies. When you stop seeking approval, you automatically elevate yourself. You stop performing for attention, and suddenly your energy shifts. You move through life as someone who is unshakable, grounded, and self-assured. People notice this, women notice this, younger women in particular feel the difference between a man who seeks validation and a man who radiates authenticity. Seeking approval is like sending out a signal that says, I am incomplete. I need you to complete me. Authenticity, on the other hand, sends a signal that says, I am complete. I am whole. I am choosing to engage with you because I want to, not because I need to. That distinction is profound, it is magnetic, and it is rare. Most men do not understand this because society teaches them to seek approval as a way to survive, to belong, to succeed. We are told to be liked, to be praised, to fit in, and while those lessons may have value in some contexts, they are poisonous when it comes to attraction. Seeking approval undermines your power because it places the control of your energy outside yourself. It tells the world and women that you are reactive, pliable, and dependent. That energy is invisible, yet it is felt immediately by anyone interacting with you. Now, I want you to understand something important. Stopping the chase for approval does not mean ignoring everyone else. It does not mean being detached, aloof, or dismissive. On the contrary, it means engaging with the world from a position of strength, clarity, and choice. You are choosing to interact, not reacting to pressure. You are choosing to participate, not performing to be liked. You are choosing to be present, not bending to meet expectations. This subtle shift in mindset transforms your energy in ways that are immediately noticeable. Women feel it. They are drawn to it instinctively because they sense stability, maturity, and authenticity. Let me give you an example. Think about the difference between a man who laughs at every joke a woman makes, texts back immediately, constantly seeks reassurance, and waits for permission to speak, versus a man who listens, engages thoughtfully, maintains his own rhythm, and responds when he chooses to. Both may be equally intelligent or attractive, but the energy is completely different. One is chasing, one is chosen. The difference is subtle but undeniable. It's not in the words, it's in the energy, in the way he carries himself, in the way he has built a life that does not require constant validation. The philosophical truth here is that approval is fleeting, but authenticity is timeless. If you live your life chasing approval, you will always be at the mercy of others' perceptions. You will always feel small, inadequate, and reactive. But if you live your life anchored in your own standards, in your own values, in your own energy, you become untouchable. You become someone who cannot be diminished by external opinions because you are grounded in something far more powerful, your own self-worth. That grounding is magnetic. That energy is irresistible. That is why older men who stop seeking approval are chosen more often than younger men who are desperate to be liked. Stopping the chase also creates a sense of mystery, which is profoundly attractive. Women are drawn to what they cannot fully control, cannot predict, and cannot manipulate. When a man is emotionally and mentally independent, when he is no longer seeking approval, he becomes that enigma. His attention is deliberate, his engagement intentional, and his presence rare. That rarity is what makes him magnetic. That rarity is what makes him chosen. You do not have to be flashy. You do not have to compete. You simply have to stop chasing, and suddenly, everything changes. Another key insight: when you stop seeking approval, you also reclaim your power in all areas of life. Your decisions, your goals, your boundaries, all of it becomes yours. You stop compromising to please others. You stop sacrificing your energy for validation. And that kind of integrity, that kind of alignment between who you are and how you live is profoundly attractive. Women notice it immediately because it signals strength, stability, and reliability. They feel safe around it. They feel drawn to it. They feel the energy of a man who is complete in himself, and that is a magnet they cannot resist. This is why emotional maturity and self-sufficiency are essential components of attraction. Presence draws attention, emotional independence sustains it, and stopping the chase for approval elevates it. It allows you to move from reactive to proactive, from seeking to choosing, from chasing to being chosen. And that shift in energy is profound, subtle, and incredibly powerful. So, how do you stop chasing approval? First, recognize where you are giving your power away. Notice the moments when you change your behavior to fit someone else's expectations, when you seek validation for your choices, when you bend to be liked. Second, commit to anchoring yourself in your own standards, values, and energy. Practice making choices based on what aligns with you, not what aligns with others' expectations. Third, embrace patience. The world and the people in it will respond to your energy over time. You do not need to force it. You do not need to perform. You simply need to be consistent, deliberate, and intentional. When you do this, everything changes. You are no longer at the mercy of external forces. You are no longer reacting to attention, approval, or perception. You are operating from a position of power. Women notice, people notice, opportunities open, life itself begins to respond to your energy. And most importantly, you feel a sense of freedom, confidence, and fulfillment that cannot be given to you by anyone else. If there is one thing to remember from this segment, it is this: approval is fleeting, but authenticity is magnetic. The moment you stop chasing, the moment you stop bending to please, the moment you anchor yourself in your own worth, you become someone who is chosen naturally, effortlessly, and consistently. Stop performing, stop reacting, stop seeking approval. Live from a place of integrity, strength, and self-possession. Choose your engagement, choose your energy, and watch how life responds. Because here is the ultimate truth. When you stop seeking approval, you are no longer chasing, you are being chosen. When you stop trying to impress, you are no longer competing, you are magnetic. When you stop bending to please, you are no longer controlled, you are free. And freedom, authenticity, and self-possession are forces no one can resist. Now that we've explored presence, emotional independence, and the importance of not seeking approval, let's talk about something that most men completely misunderstand, something that separates the ordinary from the unforgettable. It's not youth, it's not charm, it's not flashy energy or trying to be someone you are not. What truly attracts younger women to older men, what makes them consistently chosen, is depth. Life experience, wisdom, and the way a man carries the knowledge of his past create a resonance that cannot be faked, cannot be purchased, and cannot be copied. Depth is magnetic, and it is rare. Most men think they need to act younger than they are to attract younger women. They try to hide their age, compete with younger men, or perform in ways that feel forced. They think it's about fitting into someone else's timeline or pretending they've ever lived, never made mistakes, never experienced loss. That's exactly the wrong approach. What women are drawn to is the opposite of pretense. They are drawn to authenticity that comes with experience. They are drawn to the calm confidence that comes from having lived a full life, faced challenges, and come out stronger. Depth is not about age in numbers, it is about age in wisdom. It is about living fully, learning consistently, and embodying the lessons life has taught you. Depth communicates stability, it communicates understanding. When a man has lived through experiences, both good and bad, and carries himself with humility and strength, it sends a signal that he is capable of navigating life's complexities. Women sense this immediately. It is not about showing off stories or achievements. It is about embodying the lessons of those experiences. It's in the way a man listens, in the way he responds, in the way he carries himself in moments of uncertainty. Depth is silent yet powerful. It does not demand attention, it naturally commands it. Consider this: a man who has faced adversity, who has experienced heartbreak, loss, or failure, but has learned from it and continues to move forward, carries a form of energy that is magnetic. It is grounded, solid, and unshakable. Women, particularly younger women, are drawn to this because it signals resilience, strength, and the ability to protect and support without needing constant reassurance. Depth is not just about what a man knows, it is about who he is at his core, shaped and refined by life itself. What makes depth so powerful in attraction is that it is inseparable from authenticity. You cannot fake it. You cannot pretend to have lived, to have learned, to have grown. And that is what sets older men apart from younger men who try to impress through superficiality. Younger men may have energy, looks, or charm, but without depth, their magnetism is temporary. It is fragile. It does not last. Depth, on the other hand, creates a presence that is enduring. Women notice the difference instinctively, even if they cannot articulate it. They feel it in your energy, in your composure, and in the way you move through life with wisdom and confidence. Depth also communicates emotional intelligence. Women are drawn to men who can understand, empathize, and engage with their own and others' emotions in a way that is mature and grounded. Depth allows a man to navigate complex emotional landscapes without being overwhelmed, without losing himself, without becoming reactive. He can offer support, guidance, and understanding without being controlling. That is the kind of energy that creates attraction that is not fleeting, but lasting. Women want to feel safe emotionally, and depth provides that safety naturally. Another crucial element of depth is the ability to embrace your past without apology or shame. Most men try to hide their history, pretend it never happened, or present a version of themselves that is sanitized for others' approval. That approach kills attraction. Women are drawn to men who own their past, who accept it, and who have learned from it. There is power in a man who can say, "I have lived, I have learned, I have grown, and I am stronger because of it." That honesty, that self-possession, that confidence in one's journey is incredibly magnetic. It tells women that they are interacting with someone real, someone who can handle life, and someone who will not crumble when challenges arise. Depth also enhances conversation and connection. A man with depth has a perspective that is informed by experience. He can discuss a wide range of topics with insight, understanding, and nuance. He can engage women on an intellectual, emotional, and philosophical level because he has lived, observed, and reflected. That is far more attractive than superficial small talk or rehearsed charm. Depth allows a man to connect on levels that are meaningful, stimulating, and memorable. And women notice this immediately. They sense that interaction with this man is not shallow, not fleeting, not disposable. It carries weight, substance, and resonance. Now, depth is not something that is automatically given with age. It is cultivated intentionally. It is the product of reflection, self-awareness, and learning from life rather than merely existing in it. It requires courage to face mistakes, humility to accept failures, and curiosity to continue growing. Older men who develop depth are those who have consciously reflected on their experiences, who have learned lessons from adversity, and who have integrated those lessons into their character. That integration, that wisdom in action, is what creates the magnetic energy younger women are instinctively drawn to. There is also a philosophical dimension to depth. Depth is about understanding that life is complex, unpredictable, and imperfect. It is about embracing uncertainty without fear, navigating challenges without panic, and responding to circumstances with clarity rather than reaction. A man with depth understands that control is limited, that people change, that circumstances shift, and yet he remains grounded in his principles and aligned with his values. That grounding creates a calm confidence that is irresistible because it communicates mastery over oneself rather than over others. Depth allows a man to be selective. He does not waste energy on what does not serve him, on superficial connections, or on validation. He engages intentionally, deliberately, and meaningfully. And this selectivity, this intentionality is attractive. It communicates that his time, energy, and attention are valuable. Women sense that and are drawn to it. They recognize a man who is not available to everyone, but is available to those who are aligned with him. That is magnetic. That is rare. That is what makes older men consistently chosen. Finally, depth is a reflection of alignment between life and self. A man with depth has integrated his experiences, lessons, and growth into a coherent sense of who he is. He does not need to perform. He does not need to impress. He does not need to chase. He simply exists with clarity, wisdom, and authenticity. That energy communicates power without aggression, confidence without arrogance, and attraction without effort. Women notice it instantly because it is real, it is undeniable, and it is impossible to ignore. So, if there is one thing to take away from this point, let it be this: depth is not optional. Depth is not about age alone. Depth is cultivated through life experience, reflection, emotional intelligence, and authenticity. It is the combination of wisdom, resilience, and understanding that transforms a man from being noticed to being chosen. Presence draws attention, emotional independence sustains it. Stopping the chase for approval elevates it, but depth makes it enduring. Depth is what allows women to sense not only who you are, but who you will continue to be. It is a form of magnetism that cannot be replicated, cannot be faked, and cannot be overlooked. And here is the ultimate truth. If you want to be chosen consistently, if you want your presence to matter, if you want to attract younger women on a level that is meaningful and lasting, you must cultivate depth. You must embrace your past, learn from your experiences, develop wisdom, and carry it with humility and confidence. Depth is magnetic because it signals authenticity, resilience, and mastery. It tells women and the world that you are someone who matters, someone who is grounded, and someone whose energy cannot be ignored. Step into your life fully, embrace your journey completely, reflect on the lessons, and carry that energy with intention. Depth is the bridge between attraction and lasting influence. It is the quality that ensures you are not only noticed but chosen. It is rare, it is powerful, and it is yours to claim. Now that we have explored presence, emotional independence, stopping the chase for approval, and the power of depth, let's address the final piece of this puzzle. The element that truly separates older men who are noticed from those who are consistently chosen. This is the factor that most men completely overlook, even though it is as essential as presence or emotional mastery. And that is the ability to embody purpose and direction in your life. Younger women and people in general are not drawn to randomness, to indecision, or to lives that drift without meaning. They are drawn to men who are aligned with their purpose, who carry vision and direction in their energy, and who live intentionally every single day. Purpose is magnetic because it communicates power and clarity. When a man knows where he is going, what he values, and why he does what he does, that energy is instantly attractive. Women feel it instinctively. It is not about bragging about achievements, flaunting wealth, or showing off status. It is about a quiet, unwavering commitment to a life that matters, a path that is intentional, and choices that are deliberate. Purpose is the silent signal that says, I am here. I know my path. I know who I am, and I am not distracted by superficialities. That clarity and energy is rare, and that rarity is magnetic. Most men drift. They go wherever life pushes them. They follow trends, try to please, react impulsively, and hope things work out. That is invisible energy. It is flat, unremarkable, and forgettable. Women, particularly younger women, instinctively notice this. They sense when a man is reactive rather than proactive, when he is living someone else's version of life instead of his own. That lack of direction communicates weakness, uncertainty, and instability, even if the man is attractive or wealthy. On the other hand, a man who moves through life with intention, clarity, and purpose communicates power, stability, and reliability. That energy is magnetic. It is irresistible. Purpose also amplifies every other key trait we have discussed so far. Presence becomes more compelling when it is aligned with a life of meaning. Emotional independence becomes more tangible when your life is driven by vision rather than circumstance. Stopping the chase for approval becomes effortless when your priorities and values are clear. Depth is elevated when your experiences are integrated into a coherent narrative of purpose. In short, purpose acts as the gravitational center for all other traits. Without it, magnetism is scattered. With it, attraction becomes unavoidable. Consider this. A man who is fully immersed in his purpose does not need to chase. He does not need to impress. His energy is self-sustaining. He wakes up with direction, engages with the world with clarity, and prioritizes actions that serve his vision. Women sense this immediately because it communicates maturity, stability, and capability. A man with purpose is someone who can navigate life's challenges, make decisions without confusion, and offer a grounded, consistent presence in their interactions. That consistency creates trust, admiration, and attraction that is enduring rather than fleeting. Purpose is also profoundly attractive because it signals independence. A man who is guided by his own purpose does not rely on anyone else to define his life. He is not seeking approval, validation, or permission. He knows his path and he walks it with confidence. That kind of independence is magnetic. It communicates that this man is in control of his life, that he can provide stability without being controlling, and that he can engage fully without losing himself. Women notice this energy immediately because it provides a sense of security, clarity, and calm. Now, purpose is not just about career, money, or external achievements. It is about alignment with your values, your passions, and your vision for life. It is about having a North Star that guides your decisions, interactions, and growth. It is about knowing what you will pursue and what you will not compromise. It is about living intentionally rather than drifting passively. This internal alignment creates energy that cannot be replicated by looks, charm, or status. Women sense it instinctively. They are drawn to me, who have direction because it communicates reliability, intelligence, and inner strength. Purpose also communicates resilience. Life is unpredictable. Challenges will arise, setbacks will happen, and disappointments are inevitable. A man who is grounded in his purpose does not crumble when obstacles appear. He adapts, adjusts, and continues moving forward. That resilience is magnetic because it signals that he is capable of navigating the complexities of life without losing composure, without succumbing to fear, and without becoming dependent on others for stability. Women, consciously or unconsciously, are drawn to that energy because it creates a sense of safety, trust, and admiration. Another crucial aspect of purpose is intentionality. A man with purpose chooses his actions deliberately. He does not allow life to dictate his energy or decisions. He prioritizes what matters. He avoids distractions, and he invests in what aligns with his vision. This intentionality is magnetic because it communicates discipline, self-control, and clarity of mind. Women sense when a man is intentional versus when he is reactive. They are drawn to the former because it signals competence, consistency, and the ability to create a meaningful life. Purpose also enhances your presence, emotional independence, and depth. When your life is guided by intention, your presence is stronger because it is rooted in clarity. Your emotional independence is easier to maintain because your happiness is tied to your vision, not external circumstances. Your depth is enhanced because your experiences, lessons, and growth are integrated into a coherent framework that reflects your purpose. Purpose is a binding force that aligns all the traits we have discussed, transforming them into a magnetic energy that cannot be ignored. Philosophically, purpose is about living in alignment with your highest values and potential. It is about moving beyond distraction, superficiality, and reactionary behavior. It is about taking responsibility for your life, mastering your energy, and creating meaning in every action. Older men who embody this energy naturally attract younger women because it communicates mastery, stability, and authenticity. Women feel it instinctively. They may not consciously identify it, but the energy is undeniable. It resonates on a level deeper than words, appearance, or charm. Now, many men hesitate to embrace purpose because it requires courage. It requires self-reflection, commitment, and consistency. It requires saying no to what does not serve your vision and yes to what does. It requires living in alignment with your values rather than being swayed by societal pressure, external validation, or fleeting trends. But that courage is exactly what creates magnetic energy. Purpose is not safe, it is powerful, and power is attractive. Purpose also allows for selectivity in relationships. A man who is clear about his vision and direction does not settle for superficiality, distraction, or chaos. He engages intentionally, choosing connections, conversations, and opportunities that align with his path. This selectivity communicates value and raises the standard for how others engage with him. Women sense this immediately. They are drawn to a man whose life has structure, direction, and meaning because it signals that he is someone worth investing in emotionally and intellectually. Finally, purpose is not static, it evolves. A man with purpose grows, learns, and refines his vision over time. He is adaptable yet grounded, ambitious yet disciplined, driven yet balanced. That evolution is magnetic because it communicates vitality, strength, and continual growth. Women are drawn to energy that is dynamic yet stable, that carries direction yet remains adaptable, and that reflects a life lived intentionally. Purpose ensures that attraction is not fleeting but enduring because it is tied to the fundamental energy of a man who knows himself and lives fully. So, if there is one thing to remember from this final point, it is this: purpose is the ultimate anchor for attraction. Presence draws attention. Emotional independence sustains it. Stopping the chase for approval elevates it. Depth makes it enduring. But purpose transforms it into something unstoppable. Purpose communicates power, clarity, stability, and authenticity. Purpose signals a man who is complete, aligned, and intentional, and that is energy that cannot be ignored. Step into your purpose, align your actions with your vision, live intentionally, choose deliberately, and move with clarity. When you do not chase, you are chosen. When you do not compete, you are magnetic. When you do not react, you are grounded. And in that energy, everything changes. The world notices, women notice, your life transforms. Purpose is the final piece of the puzzle, the force that binds all your energy together, and the pathway to being chosen, respected, and truly magnetic.